Dear listeners, before we get started, drop a quick hi in the comments and let us know where you're tuning in from. Also, if you have any suggestions for us to make the channel better, please let us know. Now let's start with the story. I am Dean. I have been running my own HVAC contracting business for 8 years now. Started from nothing. Grew up in Section 8 housing with my mom after my dad bounced when I was 12. Spent high school working weekends at a scrapyard, put myself through trade school, and built this company from a beat-up van and a toolbox. Now I'm pulling in solid six figures doing commercial installations, hospitals, office complexes, manufacturing plants. The kind of work that keeps me on the road for weeks at a time, but pays enough to finally live the life I used to daydream about while scrubbing rust-off copper in the junkyard. Last month, I rolled back from a job in Ohio around 11 p.m. Been gone 9 days straight installing climate control systems in a new medical facility. Living off truck stop food, sleeping in motels where the Wi-Fi is more suggestion than service, and dealing with project managers who think HVAC work is just waving a wand and making air cold. My shoulders were screaming, my boots were caked in insulation, and I hadn't eaten anything that wasn't shrink-wrapped in at least 48 hours. All I wanted was to grab something cold from the fridge, fire up the Xbox, and decompress like a grown man who just spent the better part of 2 weeks fighting ductwork and local inspectors with power complexes. I'm maybe 2 minutes into cracking open a drink, haven't even had a sip, when someone starts absolutely beating the soul out of my front door. Not knocking, pounding, like they're expecting me to open it with a hostage negotiator. I figured, here we go, probably Ezekiel from next door having another episode with his water heater. Ezekiel is this 62-year-old ex-Army Ranger who decided somewhere along the line that the HOA elected him sheriff. Man's got more surveillance cameras than Fort Knox and treats a flickering porch light like a national emergency. Usually it's some nonsense I can fix in 20 minutes. The man once called me at 1 a.m. because his microwave made a weird hum and he thought it might be haunted. So I opened the door expecting Ezekiel with a flashlight and a folder full of conspiracy theories. Instead, there's this guy I've never seen before, standing on my porch like he's rehearsing for a Netflix docuseries called Startup Sharks of Suburbia. Early 30s. Drenched in cologne and designer tracksuit energy. His haircut screamed, "I have a podcast no one listens to." And he was gripping a manila folder like it held the last known location of Jimmy Hoffa. "You must be the husband," he says, not even bothering to introduce himself. Just launches into it like I was supposed to be expecting this unshaven TED Talk in sneakers. And he's using this fake, confident energy. I wasn't. "I'm Nathan. Delilah wants you out by Wednesday." That's what this clown says to me. I'm standing there in my work clothes, sweaty, exhausted, smelling like fiberglass and desperation. And this guy, this sentient energy drink in a tracksuit, is standing on my porch trying to evict me from my own damn house. For a second, I genuinely thought maybe I'd gotten heat stroke. Like maybe I was hallucinating this entire moment. That maybe the combo of truck stop burritos and motel shampoo fumes had finally melted my brain. "What the hell?" I said, because what else do you say when a stranger tries to perform a bootleg episode of Judge Judy on your welcome mat? He starts waving the manila folder around like it's a magic wand. Delilah filed for separation. "Man, you gotta be out by Wednesday, so we can, move forward with everything." He said that, so we can move forward with everything. Like this was some kind of Pinterest-inspired life transition and not a sneak attack breakup executed with the grace of a dropped microwave. I looked at the papers. Delilah's signature was right there. Sure enough, all legal-like, which made it worse. Because now I had documentation that I was being blindsided by a woman who clearly believed surprise divorce, served by new boyfriend, was a valid conflict resolution method. And then he hits me with, "Yeah, Delilah and me. We're together now, bro. She's been unhappy for like months. Time to move on, Time to move on. Right. Unhappy for months, but still using my Netflix password and driving the car registered in my name. Totally tracks. That's when it clicked. This wasn't some legal process server or mediator. This was Delilah's new boyfriend, standing on my porch, wearing cologne that probably came with a warning label, trying to evict me from my own property like I was some squatter who'd overstayed his welcome in a Craigslist sublet. I didn't say a word, just closed the door in his face and turned the deadbolt with the slow, satisfying finality of a man locking out both drama and dumbassery. Through the peephole, I watched him stand there for a good 30 seconds, probably recalculating whether his little alpha male takeover had landed. Then he turned and walked back to his car, a lease special Audi that was definitely stretching his budget harder than his shirt was stretching across his gym-fueled ego. Ezekiel was on his porch the whole time, smoking a cigarette and watching like this was Attitude Era, Monday Night Raw. Didn't even pretend not to be eavesdropping. Nice try, champion. He called out as Nathan got in his car. Nathan didn't respond, just peeled out of my driveway like a teenager who'd just been told the prom queen wasn't into crypto. I went back inside and made 3 phone calls. First, to my lawyer. I gave him the rundown and asked him to review my legal position. He said he'd get on it right away and told me not to sign anything unless he gave the green light. Solid dude. Doesn't sugarcoat a damn thing, which is exactly what I needed. Second call, my bank. Told them to put alerts on all my accounts. No idea what Delilah's endgame was, but I wasn't about to let her drain me dry while her new guy was trying to change the locks. Also froze the joint accounts. Figured she either had a personal stash somewhere or was playing financial hopscotch on Nathan's dime. Either way, clock started ticking the moment I locked her out financially. Third call was to Chris, my business partner. Gave him a heads up that some personal chaos might spill over into work for a few days. Chris and I started the company together after trade school. He handles the residential side while I deal with commercial clients. No nonsense, brutally efficient, and absolutely ruthless when it comes to protecting our business. Want me to look into this Nathan character? Chris asked. I know a guy who runs background checks. Not yet, I said, but keep that option open. That night, I barely slept. Not because I was worried about losing the house. Legally, I knew exactly where I stood, but because the timeline was starting to gnaw at me. Not just what was happening, but how long it had probably been happening behind my back. The next morning, I started noticing stuff I'd been too busy or too tired to see before. Little things. Random details that suddenly made way too much sense when I rewound them with the fresh lens of my wife's boyfriend just tried to evict me. By Wednesday morning, I wasn't taking any more chances. I changed every lock in the house. Cost me $350 for 6 new deadbolts and a smart lock system with camera integration. Best money I've spent since I upgraded to orthopedic work boots. Here's what Nathan and Delilah didn't know, and what she clearly forgot to mention during their little secret PowerPoint session about how to ruin my life. I bought this house 3 years before we got married. 2,600 square feet, finished basement, 2-car garage. Paid cash. Used money from my first few big commercial jobs, plus a chunk of inheritance from my grandfather. Same man who taught me how to solder copper pipe and never trust anyone with your assets. The deed? It has one name on it. Mine. I never added Delilah because my grandfather always said, never give someone the power to destroy what you built alone. He was paranoid about everything. Wouldn't even share a Netflix password. But turns out that old man's paranoia just saved my ass. Once the locks were changed and the cameras installed, I started thinking back. All those weird little things that had been happening around the house, stuff I chalked up to Delilah being Delilah, were starting to look a whole lot more suspicious. Groceries disappearing faster than usual. Electric bills spiking even though I was barely home. Netflix showing shows I'd never watched. Some British baking competition I couldn't stomach 5 minutes of. Extra dishes in the dishwasher. The expensive coffee I kept hidden for special mornings? Gone. Every damn time. I'd been noticing all of it. Just didn't connect the dots. When you're clocking 70-hour weeks and living in motels that smell like expired Febreze, you don't have time to track cereal consumption trends. But then I remembered exactly what Nathan said. So we can start the transition process. Like he'd been part of this situation for a while. That's when I flipped the switch. Detective mode activated. Started with social media. Delilah's Instagram was the usual circus of filtered nonsense. The same old, I'm spiritually enlightened and also very into mimosas aesthetic. Yoga poses. Expensive brunch plates arranged like someone was about to sacrifice them to the god of overpriced avocado toast. Motivational quotes in pastel fonts about leveling up and cutting toxic people. But there were new faces in her stories now. Group shots at restaurants I'd never even heard of, people I didn't recognize, and all this suspiciously cheery activity during times when, according to our shared calendar, I was supposed to be the only one home. I started seeing my own house in the background of her stories, but with lighting and staging like we were shooting a lifestyle magazine. Then I found Nathan's TikTok account. Holy hell, this clown had been running a full-blown content creation empire out of my house for over a month. Not just your casual look at my smoothie-type videos, professional setups. Ring lights, multiple camera angles, background music. Guy looked like he was auditioning for The Bachelor, Entrepreneur Edition. There was a video of him cooking some fancy-ass meal in my kitchen, using my appliances, like he was hosting the Nathan Network on the Dean Broadcasting System. Another one had him working out in my basement gym, using the weights I bought during COVID when dumbbells cost more than gold bars. Then there's him sitting in my home office, using my custom-built desk as a backdrop while he preached about the grind, like he invented effort. One video showed him making some elaborate, foamed-up monstrosity with my $300 espresso machine, talking to the camera about morning routines that separate winners from losers. Yeah, Nathan. Nothing says winner like stealing another man's coffee beans and posting it for clout. Oh, and of course, grilling steaks on my back deck. Premium cuts, too. Dude had the nerve to stare into the camera like he was hosting a TED Talk on financial freedom while flipping ribeyes I paid for, explaining how to live like you've already made it. Sure, buddy. Pro tip, try buying your own spatula next time. The comments were the best part, full of people gushing over his supposed success. Wow bro, that kitchen is insane. Manifesting this kind of energy in my own life. What's your secret? He never corrected them. Never said, oh hey, I'm mooching off some HVAC contractor while his life implodes. Just smiled with that smug influencer smirk like the house, the lifestyle, the espresso machine, all his. But the worst one? Filmed right in my office. He's sitting in my ergonomic chair, feet up on my desk, talking about the millionaire mindset, with my business certifications and awards hanging on the wall behind him like props. Like I framed them just to make him look successful. You don't fake it till you make it, he said, like he'd just invented the phrase. You build it piece by piece until it becomes your reality. Yeah, no kidding, genius. I built it with actual pieces, ductwork and compressors and crawling through attics so tight I had to exhale to fit. Not by filming TikToks in a house you didn't pay for, on a chair you didn't earn, with a coffee that wasn't yours. I started screenshotting everything. Every video, every comment, every caption. The timestamps showed he'd been doing this for at least 6 weeks. Always when I was out of town, busting my back in mechanical rooms so this guy could play digital pretend in my living room. Then it hit me, the gym. I checked my 24-hour fitness account. They let you add family members, and I'd added Delilah when we got married. Turns out she'd added Nathan as my cousin about 2 months ago. Cousin. That was cute. The account history showed he'd been going regularly, bringing random people as guests, racking up charges for personal training sessions and premium services. The staff notes at the gym showed he'd been telling people he was a successful entrepreneur and, get this, hosting business networking sessions in the juice bar. Like some bootleg Tony Robbins running a LinkedIn seminar between sets of bicep curls. I called the gym immediately and had his access revoked. The lady on the phone said, wait, the guy with the ring light? And I just said, yep, that guy. Then I changed the passwords on every streaming service. Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, even the Spotify Premium I only used for road trips. Gone. If he wanted to vibe to motivational playlists, he could do it with ads every 3 songs like a peasant. Got the locks changed in the house. Paid for premium service. After that, I dove headfirst into my credit card statements. If I was already neck-deep in betrayal, I figured I might as well wade through the financial damage too. I braced for yoga retreats, mystery Amazon charges, and at least one spiritual coaching webinar. That evening, just as I was halfway through a blessedly silent dinner of reheated lasagna and peace, my phone buzzed. Motion alert from the front porch cam. Pulled up the feed, and there he was, Nathan, pacing back and forth on my porch like a caged ferret in a knockoff Gucci hoodie. Then he started hammering on the door again, like we hadn't already done this whole door drama routine. Why'd you change the locks? He shouted through the wood like it owed him an explanation. Delilah's not picking up. This is her house too. I walked over, didn't open the door. Just leaned close enough so the mic picked up my voice clearly. It's not. He paused, confused, like his internal GPS lost signal. We have rights. You can't just lock people out of their own home. You don't even have a key, Nathan. I've been staying here for weeks. That gives me rights. Nope. That gives you trespassing. There's a legal difference. And that triggered the meltdown. He started pacing again, like a raccoon who just got denied a trash can, ranting about tenant rights and unlawful eviction and how he was going to sue me for everything I owned. Which, ironically, he seemed to think he already owned. Then, because subtlety's dead, he tried to kick in the door, like we were in some low-budget action movie where the villain wears joggers and sprays too much cologne. That's when Ezekiel stepped out of his house next door, cigarette dangling from his lip like he'd been waiting for this. Hey, TikTok, he called, loud and clear. Yeah, you with the fake-ass teeth. Half the block's watching you lose your shit right now. Nathan spun around, puffed up his chest like a discount Vin Diesel. Stay out of this, old man. This ain't your business. Ezekiel didn't even blink. Kid, I've put holes in people for way less than what you're pulling right now. You might want to think real hard about what you do next. They stared each other down for a solid 15 seconds. Nathan looked at the door, then at Ezekiel, then back at the door, and finally, stomped off like a toddler denied screen time. Slid into his leased Audi and peeled out of my driveway like he was late for a crypto pyramid scheme meetup. I saved all the security footage to cloud storage. Thursday morning, I sent Delilah a text. You have 24 hours to collect your belongings. Nathan is permanently banned from this property. Her response came back so fast she must have been sitting there waiting for it. Absolutely not. Nathan lives here now. You can't just kick us out like that. We have rights. This is our home and our life together. Check the deed, I replied. That was all it took to open the floodgates. What followed was a tsunami of texts. Paragraph after paragraph of emotional fireworks, legal buzzwords, and half-baked accusations, like she'd spent the whole night mainlining Law and Order, SVU, and copying everything Olivia Benson ever said. I was suddenly being accused of financial abuse, emotional manipulation, and, my personal favorite, controlling everything. As if locking out a guy who filmed TikToks on my espresso machine counted as psychological warfare. I didn't reply to any of it. Just let her light herself on fire while I sipped my coffee from the now secure comfort of my own living room. Around noon, her strategy changed. The emotional nuclear launch codes were exhausted, so she pivoted to the martyrdom route. Now I owed her for 6 years of being my unpaid wife. She claimed she'd sacrificed everything for my business, like she was some corporate Joan of Arc. Reality check? She worked part-time folding yoga pants at a boutique that smelled like regret and eucalyptus. Spent her whole paycheck on crystals, oat milk, and healing retreats, where nobody healed anything. Never helped with a single bill. I mean, I once caught her Googling how to write a check. But now she was the financial freedom fighter, and I was the oppressive HVAC overlord. Then came the cat guilt. Because obviously, if martyrdom didn't work, weaponize the fur baby. How can you do this to Muffin? She's been my baby for 3 years. You're literally abusing an innocent animal. Muffin, by the way, was a cat she impulse bought after a tarot reading. Cute thing. But she ignored it for months. I was the one buying the food, scooping litter like a medieval peasant, and hauling it to the vet every time it coughed funny. By Thursday evening, she circled back to the can't we just talk phase. Long, rambling texts about how we were soulmates, how I was destroying something sacred, and maybe we could still work it out like evolved adults. I started documenting everything. Bank statements, mortgage paperwork, insurance documents, utility bills, anything that proved what I already knew. I owned the house, paid for the house, and had been carrying this whole circus on my back while she was off hashtagging self-care. Then I compiled everything I had on Nathan. TikTok videos, screenshots, gym membership fraud, all the times he pretended my house was his house. Labeled it all by date, timestamps, legal annotations. Hell, I even bought a new folder for it. One of those heavy-duty plastic ones with dividers, just to make a point. Then, Friday morning at 8:30 a.m. sharp, there's a knock at the door. I check the peephole, expecting Ezekiel with fresh drama or a package. Instead, there's a guy in a discount suit holding a briefcase that looked like it was rescued from a yard sale. Mr. Johnson, he says when I open the door, voice all stiff like he rehearsed it in the car. I'm attorney Andrew Williams. I represent Mr. Nathan. We got to talk about you illegally kicking out my client. Beautiful. Showtime. I let him in. Not because I was worried. No, I was delighted. I wanted to see what kind of clown circus legal strategy they thought they had cooked up. He sits at my kitchen table, opens his thrift store briefcase, and pulls out a yellow legal pad that looked like it had been attacked by a flock of angry chickens. Scribbles everywhere. I half expected to see a doodle of a cat, and the words sue him good. He starts throwing around terms like established residency, de facto tenancy, and wrongful lockout damages like he's teaching a seminar at a strip mall law school. Your client doesn't have a lease, I said flatly. Didn't matter, apparently. Doesn't matter, he said, pushing his glasses up like he just nailed a closing argument on Judge Judy. He's been living here for over 60 days. That makes him a tenant under state law. Lease or no lease. For free. No rent. No utilities. No paperwork. Financial contribution isn't required for residential rights. I pulled out my phone, tapped the screen, and let one of Nathan's rant. Delilah's with me now. This is our place. We live here together. Williams froze mid-scribble. The pen actually stopped moving. So I queued up another gem. I'm her man now. We're partners in this. You can't just kick us out. I didn't say a word. Just made eye contact while the voice of this walking protein shake finished hanging himself. Then I slid the folder across the table. Neatly tabbed and color-coded. Because when I go petty, I go organized petty. Inside was everything. The property deed with only my name on it. Insurance paperwork. Bank statements. Utility bills. Screenshots. Security footage of Nathan trying to kick my door like it owed him money. All of it. Proof that this dude had the legal standing of a houseplant. Williams started going through it. Slowly. Like he was flipping through a funeral program and realizing the name on the front cover belonged to his client. I watched the smug melt right off his face. Finally, after what felt like a dramatic pause straight out of a courtroom drama, he closed the folder and sighed. Look, My client would be willing to drop any future claims if you just gave him a small relocation fee. I blinked. You want me to pay your client to stop squatting in my house? It's just a standard way to resolve these types of situations. Sure. And setting your house on fire is a standard way to get new carpet. I leaned back in my chair. Here's what's going to happen. Nathan can grab whatever garbage he left behind from the street. He steps foot on my property again. I'm pressing charges. You want to take this to court? Go ahead. Just bring better evidence next time. Williams didn't say another word. Just packed up his chicken scratch notepad and thrift store briefcase and made his way to the door with the defeated shuffle of a man who knew he'd just lost a case and probably an hour of billable time. As he walked to his car, Ezekiel called out from next door, voice like gravel and bourbon. Hey, legal bitch. Tell your client next time he wants to play house. Maybe pick someone who knows how to read a mortgage contract. Williams didn't even look back. Just got in the car and drove away like he couldn't leave fast enough. I boxed up all of Nathan's junk. Energy drinks, Axe body spray grade cologne, self-help books with titles like Alpha Mindset and Millionaire Habits. Stuff that screamed delusional but enthusiastic. I stacked it neatly on the curb and taped a note to the box. Closest you'll ever get to owning property. You're welcome. That weekend, I gave Delilah one final shot at acting like a grown-up. Texted her. Come alone. No drama. She violated all 3 conditions. Sunday night, I got back from a job in Tennessee. 4-day commercial install that wrapped up early, which meant I was home Sunday instead of Monday. Lucky for me. Unlucky for whoever wasn't expecting me. The moment I pulled into my driveway, I knew something was off. Every light in the house was on like I'd been selected for an alien abduction. Delilah's car was parked in my spot like this was her Airbnb, and check-in was still valid. Garage door wide open, and inside. Boxes. Stacked. Like she was prepping for a moving day no one invited me to. I walked through the front door and got smacked in the face with the smell of vanilla candles and Thai takeout. The scent of overpriced chaos. Plates were piled in the sink like a frat house. Some artisanal drinks sweating on the counter. And then, oh look, guest bedroom door wide open, just casually displaying Nathan's entire wardrobe hung in my closet like it was a department store. Then she walked into the kitchen, like this was just another Tuesday, wearing one of my company t-shirts. My work shirt, like she was modeling in some failed HVAC-themed lifestyle magazine. Oh, you're back early, she said, cool as a cucumber dipped in denial. I wasn't expecting you until tomorrow. How the hell did you get in? I said. I had the locks changed. I called the locksmith. Her tone had the confidence of someone who just discovered Google Law. The separation isn't finalized yet. My lawyer says I have every right to occupy the marital residence during proceedings. You have an apartment, I said. Go occupy that. She just kept floating around the kitchen like she owned the place. Opening cabinets. Checking the fridge. Rearranging condiments like this was a Food Network set. Ignoring me like I was just some rude guest interrupting her candlelit lifestyle. But I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just watched. Took notes. Stored it all in the growing archive of reasons this entire saga should be turned into a true crime docuseries. That night, I heard her voice through the guest room door. Soft, but not soft enough to miss. What she didn't know was that the smoke detector in that room had a built-in audio monitor. Security upgrade from last year. So I pulled up the feed. Just give me another week, she was whispering. He's weak when you handle him correctly. I just need to make him feel guilty one more time. Then we're golden. Trust me, I know exactly how to manipulate him. Nice. So much for soulmates. She wasn't trying to reconcile. She was stalling. Giving Nathan time to build squatters' rights in real time like some bootleg real estate strategy. Monday morning, she tried the reasonable adult act over breakfast. Like nothing shady had happened 12 hours earlier. Look, let's just be adults about this, okay? She said, stabbing her eggs like they owed her money. Nathan needs somewhere to crash. Just for like a month. Maybe 2. You're never here anyway. He could use the guest room. Help out around the house. We don't have to go through lawyers and all that expensive BS. I just stared at her like she'd asked if he could borrow my toothbrush too. You want your boyfriend living in my house while we're getting divorced? God, you're so dramatic, she groaned. He's not dangerous or whatever. He just needs time to get his business going. Hell no. You're impossible. You make everything harder than it has to be. No, I said. We're done talking about it. She slammed a cabinet like that proved something and stormed off like the victim of a serious injustice. 2 hours later, I went to my office and noticed some things were off. My laptop? Gone. Tablet? Gone. My expensive watch? Vanished from the dresser. Checked the indoor security cameras. Unplugged. Again. But the outdoor cameras? Cameras caught everything. Security footage timestamp. 7:15 a.m. There she was, Delilah, loading my electronics into her car like she was moving out of Best Buy with a 5-finger discount. I texted her immediately. Return my property. Immediately. She replied with Olympic-level audacity. Nathan needed them for some important business meetings. Chill out. We're still married, remember? What's yours is mine. That's how this works. Wrong move, sweetheart. I called the cops. Officer Bailey showed up. Not the same one from before. This guy was mid-40s, shaved head, looked like he drank black coffee, and didn't believe in small talk. Zero tolerance for domestic nonsense. I handed over everything. Security footage. Receipts. Serial numbers. Color-coded if he needed it. Delilah rolled up like she was starring in her own courtroom drama and went straight into performance mode. We're still legally married, she told Bailey, channeling her inner legal expert from all 4 seasons of The Good Wife. He can't just hoard everything while I'm trying to rebuild my life after he abandoned me. Bailey didn't even blink. Ma'am, taking someone's stuff without asking is theft. Marriage doesn't change that. He pointed to the receipts. These were bought before separation. They're his property. And just like that, her Netflix lawyer defense crumbled like a stale gluten-free muffin. She had to return everything, under police supervision. The laptop had soy sauce stains on the keyboard like someone tried to file taxes during takeout. Tablet, cracked screen, looked like it had been used as a coaster at a frat party. My watch, missing the band. Who even steals half a watch? She shrugged through the whole thing like I was being petty for caring that she'd pawned my gear for Nathan's startup comedy career. It's just material stuff, she said, like she was a monk. Why are you being so petty about objects? From his porch, Ezekiel watched the entire thing unfold. Didn't raise his voice. Didn't move a muscle. Just stood there like a retired Batman with a nicotine habit. Delilah, he called out, calm as ever. Next time you decide to steal, maybe don't do it right in front of 6 different cameras. She spun toward him, face scrunched up like someone stole her espresso machine. Mind your own business, you paranoid old. That's exactly why you're going to lose everything, he said, nodding slow like it was a prophecy. Friday morning, I had to hit the road for North Carolina. Major hospital install. Climate control systems had to be up and running before patient move-in. Months of planning. Before I left, I sent Delilah one final message. Do not bring Nathan to this house. Do not test me again. She left me on read. No shock there. Swung by Ezekiel's on the way out. He was on the porch, cleaning one of his rifles like it was a Sunday tradition. Some kind of military-grade scope on top that looked like it could read your blood type from a mile away. Hey, Ezekiel. I'll be gone 3 days. Can you keep an eye on things? He didn't look up. Just kept working the cleaning rod like he was polishing a warning label. No problem, he said. But I got a feeling your boy Nathan's gonna try something stupid while you're gone. Just call the cops if you see him. Ezekiel grinned, eyes still on the rifle. Oh, I'll do more than that. I should have known when Ezekiel said, I'll do more than that. It wasn't a promise. It was a threat. The hospital job in North Carolina? Smooth. 3 days of sweating over ductwork, compressors, and bureaucratic nonsense. But we finished ahead of schedule and under budget. Got paid. Got praised. Added another win to the portfolio. Then Sunday afternoon hit. My phone buzzed. Text from Ezekiel. One word. Gotcha. Attached, a video. I opened it and felt my blood pressure spike so hard I thought the screen might crack in self-defense. There it was. Nathan's clown car in my driveway. Another clip. Nathan and 2 dudes unloading furniture from a full-blown moving truck like they were starting a bachelor pad inside my house. Final video. Delilah. Letting them in. Holding a key. A key she wasn't supposed to have anymore. I called Ezekiel. How long's this been going on? Since Friday night. He said, casual as ever. Full-scale moving operation. Had a whole truck. Professional movers. The works. You call the cops? Wanted to let him dig their hole deeper first, he replied. You heading back tonight? I'm leaving right now. This is going to be entertaining. He said it like he was ordering popcorn. I gripped the wheel for the next 4 hours like I was trying to squeeze the stupid out of the situation. Interstate 77 blurred by while my brain played a highlight reel of potential crimes happening in my living room. Pulled into my driveway around 8 p.m. The smell hit me before the door did. Cigarettes. Booze. Greasy pizza. Definitely not my cigarettes. Definitely not my drink. Definitely not how my house is supposed to smell. I stepped inside. It looked like a college dorm had been nuked by a reality show. Trash everywhere. Couch cushions tossed like someone lost a fist fight. Shoes I didn't recognize. Furniture rearranged like a feng shui experiment gone terribly wrong. In the guest room? A full Nathan exhibit. Clothes, electronics, vitamin bottles, shaker cups, and, because of course, a mini fridge humming beside the bed like this was a Marriott extended stay. Delilah strolled out of the bathroom like I was early for a dinner reservation she forgot to cancel. You're back sooner than expected, she said, completely unfazed. You gave him a key. He needed a secure place to stay while his lease situation gets sorted out. He moved in completely. It's temporary. Stop being so dramatic about everything. Sure. Because when I think temporary, I definitely think full wardrobe plus kitchen takeover plus man cave setup. Then Nathan walked out of my kitchen wearing my gym clothes, chewing my food, drinking my drink like he was auditioning for Extreme Home Invasion, Influencer Edition. What's good, man? He said, like we were college roommates. We thought you were staying until Monday. I scanned the living room. Something was off. Where's my TV? Gone. My 75-inch Samsung wasn't just off, it was missing. Where's my TV? Nathan's face twitched. For a half second, it short-circuited. What TV? I didn't even respond. Just opened the security app on my phone. Scrolled back. There it was. Saturday afternoon. Nathan and another dude loading my 75-inch Sony into a pickup truck. I was just keeping it safe, Nathan said, still chewing like he wasn't standing in the middle of a crime scene. You know, neighborhood's been sketchy lately. Didn't want anyone to break in and steal it. Right, I said. So you stole it first. No response. Just that awkward shuffle people do when their lie trips over its own shoelaces. I walked to my home office, praying for some kind of miracle. The computer was still there, but it looked like it had been through a frat party and a power outage. Screen was smudged like someone had been eating fried chicken while Googling nonsense. All my settings were reset. Browser history, a graveyard of porn sites, spammy crypto forums, and become a millionaire overnight scams. Stuff that practically screamed, I'm about to ruin someone's credit score. And then I saw it. The nightmare. My business accounts had been accessed. Customer management, billing systems, client databases, all open. This clown had used my saved passwords, probably autofill, like it was his own personal LinkedIn experiment. This wasn't just some freeloading house guest anymore. This was corporate espionage. I hit the emergency contact from my cybersecurity team like I was pressing a nuclear launch code. Within minutes, I was on a conference call with half my IT department. They were already locking down systems, changing every password, running audits. Client data had been exposed. Billing info, job site details, contracts, financial records, all of it. If any of it leaked, I wouldn't just be out of business. I'd be in court, facing federal lawsuits, data breach penalties, and maybe a lovely orange jumpsuit. I walked back to the kitchen. Nathan was still parked there, gnawing on my sandwich, looking like I was the unreasonable one. You got into my work accounts, I said. I just needed to check something real quick. He replied, like he'd borrowed my truck to run a quick errand and accidentally drove it into a lake. You committed a freaking federal crime. Delilah decided that was her cue to jump in. He was trying to help. He's been more supportive than you ever were. Delilah, I said, shut the hell up. This isn't marriage anymore. This is federal. Nathan shrugged, like we were arguing about who drank the last soda. Bro, chill. I didn't actually take anything. You accessed protected systems without authorization. That's a felony. Then, he made the worst mistake he's made since showing up on my porch in a tracksuit. He laughed. You're being a jerk, man. Nobody's gonna prosecute over some stupid computer stuff. And there it was, that same fake, smug, TikTok tough guy smirk. The kind of manufactured confidence that probably worked on college girls. I grabbed him by the throat and slammed him against the refrigerator before he even knew I was moving. It wasn't rage. It was clarity. Like my body had decided we were done playing host to parasites. He flailed like a fish out of water. No coordination, no power, just panic. Like I'd caught him with his hand in the cookie jar, and the jar was glued to a bear trap. I leaned in, my forearm digging in just enough to remind him this wasn't TikTok. You made one mistake, Nathan, I said, voice low and sharp. You thought I was soft. His face was going red, neck veins bulging like his ego about to burst. Delilah was shrieking in the background like the fire alarm was doing a cover of Mariah Carey. Let go of him. You're insane. No, I said, without so much as a glance. I'm done being patient. I let him go. He crumpled like a cheap folding chair, gasping and clutching his throat like it owed him something. You're psycho, he wheezed, eyes watering, voice cracked. Go ahead and call the cops, I said, calm now. Tell them how your little startup hacker routine just tripped over federal law. I pulled out my phone and started recording. No filters, no ring light, just raw panic. Nathan squirmed like a worm on a hot sidewalk. Then the confession tumbled out. I was just trying to find leverage to help Delilah get a better divorce settlement, he choked out. Everything stopped. Delilah froze mid-hysterics. You what? She snapped. I was just helping you. You told me it was just email. Nathan realized, too late, that he'd just burned their entire con to ash. The air thickened. Delilah stared at him like she wanted to fast forward to the part where she throws him under the bus, twice. I walked over to Nathan. He tried to scurry back, but his pride was too heavy to drag. I squatted down, eye level. "Let me tell you something, genius," I said, keeping my voice quiet but cold. "You poked the wrong bear. You tried to screw over a man who built everything he owns with blistered hands in 16-hour days." He sniffled, eyes darting between the floor and my face. "You pushed an honest man," I said. "And now you're going to learn what happens when the good guy stops turning the other cheek." I slapped him multiple times. Slapped him till my hand were red and he was crying like a bitch. He was dealing with a contractor who crawled through attics in July, who knew what it was like to dig his way out of nothing, and who had absolutely nothing left to lose when you tried to take what was his. Nathan sat there trembling, lips quivering, the alpha male drained right out of him, like a balloon that realized it was full of hot air and nothing else. Delilah? Silent. Stone-faced. Probably calculating how fast she could draft a "he lied to me" defense before the feds showed up. I stood up, looked down at the mess on my floor, and said, "Hope you enjoyed your influencer fantasy, Nathan, because this is your final episode." A few minutes later, Officer Bailey showed up. Different cop, same attitude, zero tolerance for BS. I handed him the phone, the footage, the logs, the whole disaster wrapped in a lawsuit. He scrolled through, eyes narrowing. "This is way beyond domestic disputes," Bailey muttered. "He's looking at federal charges." Nathan sat on my couch in handcuffs, rubbing his throat like it was his career path that had been bruised. His dream of being a social media alpha? Yeah, that died right there on my microfiber sofa. He got arrested that night on enough charges to fill a law school textbook. Computer fraud, unauthorized access, identity theft, attempted corporate espionage. Bailey called in the feds before the ink dried on the report. Federal agents showed up within hours. They confiscated everything Nathan had touched. Phone, laptop, that discount smartwatch he claimed could track his hustle. They started building a case so airtight you could seal ductwork with it. Delilah, of course, tried to play innocent. I didn't know what he was doing. He never told me. But the agents were already flipping through her texts. Messages where she and Nathan talked about digging up dirt on me. Scheming. Plotting. Pretending it was strategy instead of stupidity. And Nathan? He sat in the back of that federal transport vehicle, hands cuffed in front of him, eyes darting around like maybe there was a reset button somewhere. No ring light. No motivational speeches. No background music. Just a scared little man who'd made the biggest mistake of his life. Chad showed up about 2 hours after the feds hauled Nathan off in cuffs, looking like a kid caught stealing candy from a church bake sale. He had my TV in the back of a rental truck, bubble wrapped like he cared about it. Said the federal agents had given him a little chat, either cooperate or enjoy matching orange jumpsuits with Nathan. He chose cooperation. Smart boy. One by one, everything came back. My air fryer, my power tools, even the unopened bottle of 23-year-old scotch I'd been saving for the day I finally retired. It was like Christmas, if Santa was the feds and the elves were regretful felons. Chad didn't say much, just kept his head down and apologized every 3 minutes like he was trying to earn Yelp stars. Ezekiel stood on his porch the whole time, full gear out, tripod, boom mic, DSLR with a zoom lens that looked military issue. "Better than Netflix," he muttered, sipping a beer. "Should have sold tickets. Could have funded my retirement." By the time Chad dropped off the last box, I was just starting to feel like things were balanced again. Then it happened. He tripped. One foot caught on the edge of the porch step, and boom, box went flying, burst open like a piñata of heartbreak. $250 worth of rare imported coffee beans rained across my driveway like the confetti of disappointment. I stood there, staring at it, like a soldier watching his platoon go down in slow motion. And that's when I saw it. Nathan, still in the back of the federal transport, hands cuffed, window cracked, smirking like this was the high point of his day. "Oops," he said, like a toddler knocking over juice. That one word, oops, got him slapped with another charge, destruction of property. That'll teach you to mess with a man's beans. Delilah, naturally, decided this was her cue for a comeback. "This is insane," she snapped, throwing her hands in the air like she was auditioning for a soap opera. "It's just coffee. You're ruining his life over nothing." I didn't even blink. He ruined his own life. I'm just documenting it. And document it I did. Every last charge. Every receipt. Every tiny offense filed and indexed. That week, the federal case started moving faster than Delilah's last relationship. Nathan's lawyer tried to angle for a plea deal, but the prosecutor? Young, hungry, and apparently building her career on the backs of dumb influencers who thought the internet was lawless. No deal. Not for cybercrimes. That's when I made my move. I didn't call the family law guy. No, I called my guy, my corporate attorney. The one who drafted my business contracts, negotiated million-dollar installations, and once got a supplier to admit in writing they were technically price gouging. The man was a scalpel in a world full of hammers. I want to file for divorce, I told him. Now? While the criminal case is still active, he asked, already booting up his laptop. Exactly. She's distracted, cornered. Her credibility's in the toilet. He nodded. Smart timing. We can use the criminal case to our advantage. So we did. That Thursday, we filed the divorce petition. Everything was laid out. A full financial disclosure, detailed documentation, and a little bonus section titled Exhibit A, Felony Stupidity. We spelled it out line by line. How I owned the house, the vehicles, the business. How she'd contributed roughly the equivalent of a decorative pillow. And most importantly, how her involvement in Nathan's little cyber heist disqualified her from pretending this was anything resembling a normal split. The best part? She got served at work. Mid-shift. At the overpriced health cafe where she poured $9 smoothies and spiritual advice into bamboo cups. According to the process server, she broke down in front of 3 customers and a tray of quinoa wraps. Cried like she was being sent to federal prison herself. Got sent home early. Shame. I hear they were having a 2-for-1 turmeric latte special. She called me that night, full banshee mode. You filed for divorce while I'm dealing with a criminal case? That's emotional abuse. I was flossing at the time. Didn't even pause. That's called strategic timing. Your boyfriend committed federal crimes using my property. That's grounds for divorce in every zip code, sweetheart. I didn't know what he was doing. Sure you didn't. Your text messages say otherwise. Don't worry. Your lawyer will explain what discovery means. She hung up. No goodbye. No comeback. Just dead air. For someone who had a quote for every crisis on Instagram, she sure didn't like reality checks. 2 days later, I opened my door to find her standing there with a guy who looked like he got his law degree out of a vending machine. Corduroy blazer, clip-on tie, holding a legal pad like it might bite him. My client, he began, clearing his throat like he was prepping for Broadway, deserves half of all marital assets. The house, the business, retirement accounts, everything. I didn't say a word, just handed him a thick folder. Our response brief. 47 glorious pages of receipts, timelines, bank statements, and contractual records. Documentation showing I'd bought the house 3 years before marriage, started the business with my own hands, and a loan I paid back early, and funded every asset myself. Oh, and let's not forget Delilah's text history encouraging Nathan to dig up dirt on me. That part had a lovely tab of its own titled Conspiracy and Federal Shenanigans. Discount lawyers started flipping pages like he was defusing a bomb. About halfway through, his color drained faster than Delilah's wine rack. We'll need time to review this. Take all the time you want, I said, stepping aside. The facts aren't going anywhere. They left without saying goodbye. Again. Meanwhile, Nathan, America's least threatening cybercriminal, decided to plead not guilty. He got $1,850 in restitution and mandatory cybercrime education, aka digital fraud for dummies. And the best part, 1 year in a prison cell with Bubba. Delilah somehow managed to steer clear of being sent to prison because, as per her, she was not aware of what Nathan was doing. She still got probation for a year. But the best was yet to come. Ezekiel, bless his tactical soul, decided to look into things. Apparently, when he wasn't tending his porch arsenal or scaring TikTokers into handcuffs, he was once part of military intelligence. The man had contacts. Real ones. With clearance and everything. Within a week, Ezekiel tracked down 2 other women Nathan had pulled the same motivational entrepreneur/con artist act on. Same lines. Same scam. Same sad ending. Their testimonies were like napalm. The prosecutor took one look and yanked Nathan's probation like a bad tooth. He was back in court faster than you can say influencer to inmate, slapped with additional charges, and sentenced to additional 18 months in federal prison, with another 2 years tacked on if he so much as touched a laptop after release. His online empire? Nuked. TikTok, gone. Instagram, deleted. Even his little podcast got buried in shame. Somebody even made a meme video remixing his alpha male quotes with footage of him being perp-walked in cuffs. It got 80,000 views before the platform Mercy killed it. Meanwhile, back in divorce court, Delilah was getting wrecked. Her cut-rate lawyer kept showing up like this was small claims night at the community center. My legal team, buttoned-up assassins in custom suits, shut down every argument before it could take a breath. Every time they tried to claim anything as a marital asset, we dropped another receipt, another affidavit, or another time-stamped message proving her criminal involvement with the TikTok bandit. Game. Set. Match. The judge was not having it. During one of the hearings, Delilah decided to roll the dice on a monologue about emotional labor and supporting my career. I swear, If she'd thrown in chakra alignment or manifesting abundance, we'd have had a bingo card blackout. I sacrificed so much to help him succeed. She sniffled, blinking like she was auditioning for a Hallmark movie. The judge didn't even bother looking up at first, just flipped to the next page in her file. Then, deadpan. Ma'am, you supported a federal criminal's attempt to sabotage your husband's business. That's not grounds for compensation. That's just poor judgment. Delilah turned red. Her lawyer looked like he wanted to crawl under the table and hide behind his legal pad. That was basically the nail in the coffin. When all was said and done, Delilah walked away with exactly what she brought into the marriage. Nothing. No house. No business stake. No alimony. No assets. Just her personal belongings, a yoga mat that smelled like betrayal and my piss, and whatever fragments of her dignity hadn't been sacrificed to Nathan's TikTok dreams. Whole process took 6 weeks. My lawyer called it the most efficient divorce he'd ever seen. When you file at the right time with the right evidence, he said, sipping coffee like a smug wizard. It's not even a fight. It's just documentation. He's not wrong. We didn't litigate. We didn't mediate. We executed. Naturally, Delilah went full victim mode on social media afterward. Long, teary-eyed Instagram posts about financial abuse and how I used the legal system to destroy her happiness. Hashtag Justice for Delilah. Nobody was buying it. Even her own family reached out to apologize. Her father, a man I'd only ever seen once at Thanksgiving, sipping bourbon and watching college football, called me personally. I didn't raise her to be this kind of person, he said. I'm ashamed of what she's become. Her mother didn't sugarcoat a damn thing. You're better off without her. We tried to warn her years ago, but she always thought she was smarter than everyone else. Well, look at her now. The cherry on top? Her sister Jennifer slid into my Facebook messages like she was delivering a cease and desist on behalf of common sense. She's completely lost it, Jen wrote, blaming everyone except herself. Even our parents have cut her off. Honestly, thank you for handling it with grace. Grace is one word. I would have gone with precision and a mild thirst for justice. And if that wasn't poetic enough, the boutique where Delilah worked fired her. Apparently being linked to federal crimes isn't great for business, especially if you're selling $80 soy candles and empowerment crystals. The owner sent out a polite email to customers saying they were reevaluating staffing decisions to protect brand integrity. Delilah landed in a tiny studio apartment across town, one of those units where the kitchen sink shares space with the shower, and got a job waiting tables at a chain restaurant. Not even a good one. Think sticky menus and birthday songs with hand claps. And because irony has a sense of humor, last I heard, she was trying to reinvent herself as a life coach, selling online courses about overcoming adversity and rebuilding after betrayal. You know, the betrayal she planned. 0 customers. 0 credibility. Ezekiel kept tabs on both of them for months. Know your enemies, he told me once over black coffee and bacon that could patch drywall. That's basic tactical thinking. And when a man who owns 5 rifles with names gives you life advice, you listen. Fast forward about 6 months from the start of this dumpster fire. 3 months post-divorce. Life? Fantastic. I'd just flown back from a $180,000 climate control contract in Florida for a pharmaceutical company. Biggest job I'd ever closed, and it went off without a hitch. Business booming. Clients happy. Beard trimmed. Lawn mowed. Even Ezekiel had complimented the mulch job I did on the flower beds. Then, Tuesday evening, I'm home, still smelling faintly like jet fuel and HVAC glue, when there's a knock on the door. I open it, and I almost didn't recognize her. Delilah looked, well, like she'd lost a fight with a Goodwill bin. Skinny in the unhealthy kind of way. Hair flat and frazzled. Wearing a hoodie that looked like it had seen more couches than a traveling therapist. Can we talk? She asked, voice barely a whisper. I raised an eyebrow. We're divorced, Delilah. There's nothing to talk about. About us, she said, eyes brimming. About maybe trying again. Oh, hell no. She started crying. The kind of dramatic soap opera crying you do when the camera zooms in real tight. I screwed up, she said. Nathan was just using me. He made me think you were the bad guy. I was so stupid and I'm sorry. But we can fix this. I still love you. We can get married again. She said that like it was a casual suggestion. Like we could just hit Control+Z on her federal crime-infused breakup plan and rewind back to Sunday brunches and Netflix passwords. I just stared at her. I mean, this wasn't just denial. This was Olympic-level delusion. I'm drowning, she whispered. I can't pay rent. I got nothing left. And Nathan, he's in prison. Won't even talk to me. His lawyer said he blames me for everything. She paused. Like that was supposed to earn her points. Like being abandoned by the dude who tried to hijack my life made her the victim now. So now you want to come back? I asked. I want to make it right, she said, inching forward. I want to be the wife you deserved. I'll do anything. And just over her shoulder, I saw the curtain in Ezekiel's living room move about an inch. The man was definitely watching. Probably had a headset on and was live commentating to his army buddy in Idaho. I took a breath. Here's what's going to happen, I said. You're going to leave. You're going to stay away from me, my house, my business, my life, forever. Please, she begged, hands clasped like a teenager begging for a later curfew. I'll sign whatever you want. I'll give up everything. I tilted my head. Delilah, we're already divorced. You already gave up everything. That happened months ago. She looked like someone had kicked her spiritual puppy. I can't make it on my own. I need help. I need you. And that's when I smiled. That big, satisfied, this is better than coffee kind of smile. You should have thought about that, I said slowly, before you moved another man into my house. She was full-on sobbing now. Ugly crying. Lip trembling. Mascara streaks like someone had painted despair on her face with a Sharpie. I'll do anything, she wailed. I'll be your maid. Your whatever. Just please don't leave me like this. I started closing the door. Your time's up. Step back. Please, she begged. I'm desperate. I have nowhere else to go. Yeah, well, that's not my problem anymore. That's why I divorced your ass. And that's when the meltdown reached full circus level. She went through all 7 stages of grief in under 2 minutes. I mean, it was impressive. Like a speed run of emotional collapse. Screw you, she screeched. You destroyed my life. Oh, here we go. Everything is because of you. Nothing would have happened if you cared about me. I raised an eyebrow. Are you done? Apparently, that was not the correct answer. She started muttering curses, sobbing, and full-on snotting all over herself. Her hair was stuck to her face. Her makeup was clumping. It looked like her whole existence had been processed through a blender. I didn't say anything else. Just watched her trudge back to her beat-up car, same one she tried to look smug in when she first drove Nathan over. I stood at the window and watched her sit there, sobbing behind the wheel like a soap opera extra. She sat there for 10 minutes. Then she drove off. And that was the last time I ever saw her. About an hour later, Ezekiel strolled over from his porch, sipping something dark out of a chipped army mug and chewing on a toothpick like Clint Eastwood with better posture. Heard the whole thing, he said. You handled that like a professional. Yep, I said. Want a drink? Oh, absolutely. 6 months later, I got a message from Jennifer, Delilah's sister, and the only one in that gene pool with an ounce of common sense. Apparently, Delilah had moved back in with her parents in Ohio. Basement living. Stocking shelves at a grocery store. Still trying to launch her life coaching business like she hadn't just nuked her own credibility with federal charges and a viral breakdown. 0 success. 0 clients. Probably 0 self-awareness. Nathan? He got out of prison last month. Back to living with his parents in a different state. Working at a call center where the biggest risk he's allowed to take is asking someone if they're satisfied with their broadband plan. Banned from social media. Reputation DOA. Even his TikTok fanboys had moved on to the next fake guru with a ring light and a motivational quote stolen from Pinterest. Meanwhile, me? My business is thriving. Hired 2 more technicians. Scored 3 new commercial contracts. Upgraded my work truck. Replaced the espresso machine Nathan used in his morning grind TikTok with a better one. One that doesn't remind me of failed influencer dreams and cheap cologne. I also started dating again. This time, a woman who actually appreciates what I've built instead of trying to stake a claim like it's gold rush land. Smart, kind, laughs at my jokes. We're taking it slow. No rush. No rings. No squatters. Ezekiel's still posted up next door. Best early warning system money can't buy. Guy can hear a car door close from 3 blocks away and tell you the make, model, and emotional state of the driver. And every time I walk through my house, I smile. Because I remember exactly what happens to people who mistake kindness for weakness. Some lessons are permanent. Some consequences are forever. That's exactly how it should be. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.